Hi and welcome back to my walkthrough of Anno 1800. I really received an incredible amount of nice, maybe not so nice, but very helpful comments, a lot of questions around this game, and what's most important, a lot of interest. Basically me continuing at least a couple of more rounds in Anno 1800. That's what I'm about to do today. There was definitely one small goof or one thing I forgot for player 2. I believe they received 2 extra farmers, but I really didn't get extra cards in their hands. So I think this is what I need to do right now. And again, thanks so much for making me aware. So 2 more green cards will enter this player's hand. Additionally, I discussed at length how difficult it might be to get cotton, but also a nice comment which I received. And yes, cotton is on every of those new world tiles. I really checked those too. I did remember at some point in time in the game, I was in a previous game, I was really hoping for a resource, and for whatever reason I thought this would have been cotton, but that's not true. I believe back then I was hoping, I think it was coffee or tobacco. I'm not quite sure which one it was, but yeah, cotton is on each of those new world tiles because yeah, it is incredibly important for some of those resources here, like the cloth. The cloth then gives you the clothes, and then later on you can basically also use the cloth to take these fur coats, for example. So yeah, that's why you really don't need to worry about cotton, which is definitely good to know. There were also some complaints about me not knowing the computer game and not using the proper terms. Yes, I really do apologize. I really don't have a lot of time playing computer games besides playing board games and recording those for the channel, but really do appreciate the comment anyway. One thing that I definitely did miss was in respect to those red dudes here. I think I call them craftsmen, which is not wrong by definition, but in the computer game, I believe they're called artisans. So that's definitely something I learned. In the meantime, I really did check out the computer game at least a little bit. The computer game comes with way more of those resources and goods that we see here, but it's still a good amount of stuff. These are really more of the, let's say, common goods that you usually need. I believe there was also a comment in respect to this resource here, which I said is milk, but again, it doesn't make sense. We don't really need milk and or butter from our colonies, and most likely the comment was right that this is rubber, actually, because I checked some of the other things and you need rubber for a bike, obviously. So let's go with rubber for now, which actually totally makes sense. But I think apart from that, I should be okay. So let's get right into the game. We are moving back to player 1, and I believe now it's really time to really make some extra points by trying to fulfill the requirements of one of those specialists here, Karl Leonard of Malching, or von Malching. He wants coffee, chocolate, cigars and rum, and I believe player 1 is perfectly capable to produce cigars now, because first of all, he does have cigars, or she does have cigars, tobacco here, which we can now trade. So we will basically use one of our trade tokens here from the last one we hatched from our ship. So this gives us 1 virtual cigar. We can keep it here, but we will lay it aside because again, you can use it an unlimited amount of times. So we have the tobacco, and then we also need to come up with some extra wood, which then allows us to get this cigar industry kind of thing. So let's go for it and place it onto our home island accordingly. Right now we don't really need to produce with it. I'm pretty sure there is some demand. We need, for example, cigars later on. Do we actually? I'm pretty sure there's something we need cigars for. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense. But again, right now the decision was to go for this industry just to score the 6 points at the end of the game. So that's definitely good thing. Of course, we have to keep it, but again, usually there is no reason to tear down an industry in your island. But that's already the end of player 1's turn, and then it's player 2, and I believe player 2 wants to build this cart here. I believe you may have seen this already, and I believe that was the reason why I went for bread. Player 3 has beer, so I think we can trade with beer. This only costs us 1 trade token, keep that in mind. But still, player 3 gets 1 gold bar for that anyway. So we have the beer. We only need bread, which is not a problem. We put a worker on top of it. So we have basically built this card here. We will activate it right away, which gives us yet another inhabitant, which is now our first engineer of the game. How nice is that? This also gives us an extra card. So we played a card, we got a card, and there was also, I think, really a lot of comments around the game ending condition. And to most of you, it seems weird. And quite honestly, it's very weird for me too. But that's how the game works. You get cards, you take cards, you play cards, you may be able to discard some of those cards, and at some point in time you have to make a call. There is a small incentive ending the game basically early, or basically be the one to end the game, and that's this fireworks token here. So whoever ends the game basically plays the last card from their hand, they get this 7 extra point at the end. That's not bad, but I'm pretty sure it's not groundbreaking, so you still have to be relatively sure you can win the game when you end the game. So that's why it's really tough, and there's so much going on in this game in respect to points. Yeah, you can do some counting in between how many cards did they play, but it's still tough because you have some unknowns like those expedition cards here and whatnot. So yeah, I agree with most of you, the game ending condition is weird, but that's why I believe some of you are playing it with a timer of some sort, or I don't know. But it works perfectly fine as it is. Okay, that was already the turn of the second player. And for player 3, I think, yeah, we need building space. So they will also send someone out, I think, on an expedition. We are exploring. We will deal with a new with an old world, sorry, because again it costs us 1 token here. So let's see what we get, and that's another brick factory, a cheaper one than this one. So it definitely could help us because now we can also overbuild this one here without any problems, and usually don't need that much brick. But that's okay. We take it, and we have some more building spaces here too, which yeah is okay. This was the plan all along. I believe player 1 wants to go for another trading ship here. I think that's key. The problem is right now we can only build level 1 ships here because we only have a level 1 shipyard at our disposal. In theory, we could go for another free shipyard here, which could give us a second build. The problem is they don't add up. For each shipyard you have, within 1 action, you can build that many ships. So let's say I do declare I want to build ships. I have 3 shipyards. I can build up to 3 ships, up to the level the shipyard is on. Right now we have 1. We could build 1 more, and then maybe we could discuss if we want to go for 2 ships at 1, which might also make sense actually. So maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. The problem is, I just noted it, we don't have any wood left now because we all used those, but we could spend 1 gold coin or 1 gold bar to get this back. But this would be rather wasteful too now, because if we pass, we get the wood back, and then we could go for the shift. So I think in this case, why not actually? Let's go for another level 1 shipyard. I believe I never done this. It doesn't cost us anything. We can simply place it on the coastline of our island here for free. Again, the next time we are going for a build ship action, we can basically build up to 2 ships, but only level 1 ships. Then it's player 2. And I believe player 2 wants to do something very similar, but I believe rather going for a level 2 shipyard here. So we have to spend our engineer, which we just got, so not a problem, we can take it. We have to, let's just simply grab this tile, so it's easier to see what we are doing. We still need brick. So here we have brick, very expensive brick. We need some wood, not a problem. We have some wood here too. We already expanded our engineer here, so which allows us to build this level 2 shipyard. Okay, nicely done, definitely nicely done. Moving over to player 3, who noticed that he built the island here incorrectly. It should be down here. I think I had it up there. I guess, yeah, because again, we are looking at those end game scoring things here, and he's really interesting, relatively easy to get. And I believe he could go for some coffee now. That's 6 points. So I guess, yeah, let's definitely go for that. In order to get some coffee industry. We need coffee, obviously, coffee beans, so we can spend our trade token here. So we have successfully gathered coffee. We need some coal. Don't think we have cheap coal. Oh no, we can't do this. But let's do it anyway. And now decided, let's spend some coins now, or basically some gold, in order to bring this guy back, and then we are moving him down. So we have now produced our coal. Now you really see getting cheap coal can be really key for a lot of these industries. But again, he's doing okay in respect to gold, so let's go for it anyway. So we are flipping this over, and yeah, if he keeps it until the end of the game, that's 6 more points. Nicely done. Back to player 1, and she notices that I think she might want to have some more cheaper core technology like those sails here. So I think, yeah, let's go for it. And again, there is no reason not to go for basically overbuilding the existing industry. In order to do that, we need wood. We don't have any extra wood, unfortunately, so we have to spend 1 gold bar in order to reactivate that farmer. We are moving him back down again, so we have taken care of that. We also need some yarn, and this allows us to build this more cheap or more automated sail production industry, which is good. So I think with her next turn, I believe she should be able, yeah, we still need wood, but maybe it's still worth doing it. No, I think that was a good move for her. Originally, I was thinking to go for another of those, let's say, arm chips here, but we don't have the engineer right now because he's exhausted, and we don't have enough trade tokens to get the cannon. We could go for a cannon, but even for a cannon, as you see, we need an engineer. So I think let's go for a trade ship instead. Those can be very powerful too. Again, we have 2 shipyards, so we could build 2, but then, yeah, we don't have enough gold to reactivate all of those things actually. No, I think we will go for simply 1 level 2 trade ship here. And again, I'm not really playing this very effectively actually. So if you really do this and you are basically planning your turn, you really should maximize the output. So when you really have more shipyards, you should really try to use those shipyards in 1 turn actually. But right now, let's not care about that too much. So we need a sail, we need some goods, which is this, and of course we need wood. Yep, that's this one here. So we have built this level 2 ship. Nice. Which gives us 2 of those trade tokens right off the bat, so we can still use it this round before we are passing again, which is okay. So that was player 2's turn. Before player 3 is passing, I believe he also wants to go for the cheap coal. So therefore, we have to activate one of our farmers to produce some wood. This gives us this token. We will overbuild it here. This simply goes back to the side. Doesn't really matter where we put this stuff. We just need to remember. And I think from there, I think that was a wise decision, which is now kind of a bummer for player 2 because, keep in mind, only 2 industries are available. So you have to start trading at some point in time. Player 1 is also still doing fine. I think she wants to go for this specialist here. So we need some booze and we need some coal. She has the cheap coal, keep that in mind. So we play it, but again, we will not activate him because again, those are kind of temporary kind of trade tokens. So we may want to activate that before we ending the game because this could clearly bring her into the lead for Madame Kahina here. And by the way, those fellas here are all part of the computer game, like Arhant here. He's the advisor from your campaign, which I've seen. So really, that's definitely, if you know the computer game, it's really nice to know these things. So they take a role in this whole thing. But yeah, keep in mind, I'm not really the usual computer PC gamer. I used to be, of course, and every now and then I do still play some games, but usually I really try to focus on board games these days. Okay, I think that was 3 more points for her. It could give her the victory for the endgame victory point card, so that's 10 more points. So I think overall that's working out okay for her. Back to player 2, and I believe he wants to focus on glass production now. The problem is he cannot afford the goods nor the coal that is needed for that. But he just invested into his trade fleet, so I think he should be good anyway. So let's try that. So in order to build this industry, we need some goods. Problem is he doesn't have any red, he doesn't have a lot of gold to reactivate that, but he can still trade with their neighbors. So he could now trade basically think it doesn't really matter. No, I think he will play it fair. So he will trade the goods with player 3. It's a red good, keep in mind, and red good means we need to expend 2 of those tokens. In order to get that, this means player 3 gets a gold. Then we have basically taken care of this. We need some coal. In theory, that's also a level 3 industry, or a red industry, but keep in mind both of the players have that in blue, so he only needs to expand his last trade token, and now he will trade with player 1. Again, we'll try to play it fair, so they both got some gold out of this. He traded those resources successfully, which means he successfully built the glass industry, which is definitely important for a lot of those industries up there. And keep in mind, there are also cards in your hand, so someone might want champagne, for example. We need sewing machines, all these kind of things, which is the reason why he went for that. But keep in mind, I'm playing for 3 players now, so as soon as player 3 has taken his turn, I already forgot what I wanted to do with player 1, so please bear with me. Then it's player 3, and he really wants to play a card badly. Problem is, neither of the other players do have the industry he needs, so I think he needs to be self-sufficient in this case. He does have beer. I think he needs the canned meat. In order to do that, yeah, let's see what we need for that. So we need some pigs, not a problem. We need some steel. That is a problem. We do know that player 1 has a cheap steel industry, but he's also running out of trade tokens. There's no way to get those back, by the way. So I think we simply have to swallow the pill. We will spend, I think it's, oh no, it's 3 gold actually. Oh, did I play that correctly the last time? I may have spent only, I think he did that before, and I believe I only spent 2 gold. Keep me honest here, I may have messed this one up, but still he has enough gold, so I think no harm was really done here at that point in time. So I think, because I really don't know, let's simply spend the 3 gold now. And again, apologies here if I did that incorrectly. So we are moving this back, we are moving it back down, which means we have now produced the meat, canned meat industry, which we then later on need for the next action. Okay, let's move back to player 1. And she still has a lot of red workers, so those, I think, artisans, right? And I don't want to pass yet, so maybe we do want to build basically a low-level ship. I was really hoping to get 2 of those out at once, but I think that's okay. So we are spending this one here, we are spending 1 gold. This is really 1 gold now for the green dudes. Yep, that's the case. To move this one back, we are moving it back down. So we have produced this, which gives us yet also 1 extra trade token. So I think we can also move the passing one, at least 1 more turn next. I think, yeah, we can still take, oh, that's a gold, that's wrong. We need a trade token here, obviously. And this, I think we should be still able to use it before we have to pass. It's player 2, and I believe before he's passing, he wants to take, I believe, one of the actions I didn't show to you either. You can basically trade up to 3 cards from your hand and take the same amount from the same pile. So what he's doing now, he brings 2 of those level 8 cards to the bottom of that pile and draw 2 more for those. And he's also going for one of those New World cards and take 1 replacement from those either. Maybe, and really hope that he can make something out of that. I think one of those were okay actually, the other 2 I don't know yet. Let's move over to player 3, and the whole idea for player 3 was to get beer and the canned food here to play this dude here. Really like the artwork on those cards, they're really true to the game, it seems too. So again, we need some beer, we need some canned meat, easy to satisfy, I think. Let's activate this dude right away. Again, it's up to you if you want to activate them or not. If you say, I don't want more cards on my hand, you simply let the card lie on the table pretty much. You still get the point at the end of the game, but you don't get extra cards. But here we really have a red worker and the artisan, which really can help you quite a bit. So I think, yeah, let's activate this one. We will place it there accordingly. Cool stuff. And yeah, this time let's not forget to draw a replacement card, which is this one. For player 1, we still have 1 more good action. So she definitely wants to get this specialist out here. We need cloth, which is not a problem. We have cloth here. We have a red worker, an artisan. We need bread. She doesn't have bread, if I'm not mistaken. No, only player 2 and 3. Do they both have? Or is there still one out? No, there is still one out. Only player 2 has it, which is okay. She got this trade token because it's a blue resource. Keep that in mind. Or blue worker needs to get activated for that. But this means player 2 gets a gold, but that's fine. Player 2 only has 2 gold pieces now, which is good. We will immediately activate this card for sure. So let's put it like this. We get an... I think this is her first engineer now. Yeah, that's correct. And therefore we are getting an extra card. Whoa, that's tough. We need 6 military points, but this gives us an extra turn when we activate him. And of course he's worth 8 points. That's definitely something. Player 2 has glass, so I think let's go for actual windows, because with windows we can easily upgrade or lure in new engineers relatively easily, I think. And again, if he has glass, all the other players might want to trade with him, which gives him gold, which then on the other hand gives him the opportunity to basically repay some of his workers to get them back to work, for example. So I think that's good for him. So let's go for this window. So again, we need to activate glass, which is not a problem. He has glass. We need wood. Problem is, yeah, his wood is blocked. So we have to spend 1 gold to reactivate this farmer here, which is not a problem. So we have built this window here, and in theory we could now get rid of this thing here, but again there are a lot of other technologies which might still require glass. But at some point in time, when you have all those things, or all the other players have it, you might really decide, okay, let's get rid of glass now, because the supporting industries already have been built. There is no real supply chain here that you really have to keep having glass for in order to have those windows produced. I mean, this is really abstracted in some way. It's a board game after all. And yeah, that was player 2's action. And I believe before player 3 is passing, he also wants to go for another trade ship, a level 1 trade ship. Keep in mind, he only has a level 1 shipyard here. We need a sail, which is not a problem. We need some wood, which is not a problem. So we have that. So in theory, we could still do something with it, but it's still okay for the next round 2. So basically after he has passed. So I think that's still okay. And later on, we might really want to consider simply overbuild some of those lower level ships here anyway. Player 1 is in a precarious situation right now. She has all this blue industry now because she upgraded a lot of her basic thing. But the problem is she doesn't have enough of those blue workers. I think she didn't upgrade or so once. Can't quite remember. No, you start with 3 actually. No, you start with 3. So I think in this case, she really wants to play this card sooner or later. The problem is she can't, because again, she's now basically has the red worker, but she can't send the red worker to this industry now. And she doesn't have bread, and she cannot build bread either, bread industry, because she doesn't have the blue resources for that too. So I think in this case, she simply may need to pass. So go for a holiday or whatever this is called. I keep forgetting this. Doesn't really matter. They all go back. So next she can definitely trade, and then also go maybe for some more blue workers, and then maybe with her next round she can take some more action. Overall, I believe she's still doing okay, because she has all those trade tokens for the end of the game. And in theory she could use those now, but again, her plan is to be first in this, and this case now really spending those just for those things, I believe that would be kind of a waste. So let's not do that now. Player 2 is in a similar spot. I really had to think it through, but I think there's really no chance that he can do something useful. Of course, yeah, he could go for some cheaper sales, but this would cost him his last gold. I think let's not do that. Let's go for holiday. So let's also pass. He was really in need of red workers, as you can see. So that's also kind of a problem. You really have to optimize your industries in regards to the workers or population you actually have. So that's really, really crucial. So, but let's go for it anyway. The problem now is with all of those players, they all have only one of those exploration token here, these marine whatever exploration token, and all the next steps you do cost you 2, and the same is true for this action up here, where you can get some more of those expedition cards, which again can also give you some points. Not a huge amount of points, but some points. So basically each card can give you up to 6 points. Average, I believe, is somewhere between 3-4. I would think. Yeah, I think he also gets this engineer back, and yeah, that's over to player 3, and I guess he has to do the same thing, so I will also pass for him, and then we are moving back to player 1. And in order to be somewhat more functional, I believe she really needs some more blue workers, so we really want to go for this for this specialist here, apologies. So we need some bricks and we need bread. She doesn't have bread. Player 2 and player 3 has bread. They both have 1 gold coin each, apologies for that. So it's a blue industry, so she has to spend 1 of her trade tokens here, which is fine. Player 3 always had so many of those gold, so I think she's going to trade with player 2 actually, which is fine. And yeah, I think she will activate this one here right off the bat, so this gives her 2 immediate blue workers, and we also, let's flip this over so we get 2 more of those cards. Okay, that's a card that gives you some upgrades, but only allows you to upgrade farmers and or workers in this case, but 3 times, which is really not bad either. And the second card, let's quickly see. Oh, same one. Ooh, that's kind of a bummer actually, because she still has some of those, so maybe she also wants to trade in some of those cards at some point in time. Yeah, maybe. Let's consider that. Let's consider that. But that was her turn. Again, overall, she still scored 3 more points for that. She got some more blue workers, which is now important for her. So I think overall that worked out okay for her. Player 2 wants to go for another prep round, I believe, because I think let's go for should be good. I think he will go for some more ships. He has a level 2 shipyard, so he will build this level 2, I don't know, warship here. So therefore we need to expend 1 engineer. Not a problem. We need a cannon. We need to trade with player 3, who has the cannon. No one else got cannon. So this costs us 2 of our trade tokens. Let's expend those. We need some wood. That's not a problem. We need a sail. That's okay, I guess. And then we have built this warship here. This gives us 2 of those military tokens, which we really need later on in order, again, keep in mind, to explore further. We need more building grounds here. We still have another shipyard though, so we could continue to build, and he's really thinking about going for another level 1 trade ship now, because that's a level 1 shipyard, keep in mind. So we need another sail, and we need some more wood here in order to do that. And I think let's still go for that. So this gives us, or gives him, an additional trade token. So I think overall his fleet is now doing pretty cool. So he could start to explore further. And there is a limit. You can have up to 4 of those New World tiles and up to 4 New World tiles and up to 4 of those Old World tiles. I think there is a lot of those New World tiles, but not so many for those. Come on, Marcus. There's a lot of those Old World tiles, but not so many of those New World tiles. They will definitely run out sooner or later. Then it's back to player 3, and just to show you, I think player 3 wants to go for this specialist here. That's obviously a card from the New World. Brings him 5 points, which is good. We need some cloth. The only player who has cloth right now is player 1, so we have to trade. It's a red resource, so we have to exhaust 2 of our trade tokens here. Player 1 gets 1 gold bar for that. We need a beer, which is not a problem. We have beer. We need to expend 1 additional trade token. So yet again, he has completely exhausted all of his trade tokens. I'm not sure if that was a very good idea, but again, just to show you. And then let's directly activate this card here. So this gives player 3 2 of those expedition cards. Yeah, should I show you or not? Why not? I mean, come on, it's just a walkthrough. So these are the two cards that basically he drew. And that's a card, or those are two cards actually, that you can fulfill relatively easily. So here we have a zoo, here we have a museum. So basically we want to make sure that our citizens go to the zoo and to the museum. So at the end of the game, we have to then map our workers to those basically spaces here. If it's like this would bring us 3 points. If we could do like this, and it doesn't matter if they're exhausted or not, so don't get me wrong here, we can then still use those cards here accordingly, which then means this would score 2 points. That's 5 points at the end of the game, so that's also not entirely bad. So definitely something to keep in mind. So this can work out pretty well. A lot of those also have investors, and getting investors is really tough, but those spaces then will bring you 3 points. There is a really poor color choice on some of those because there are blue icons here, and those blue really look so much like this one. In the very first playthrough, some of our players thought, okay, hey, this is blue, I have a lot of blue, and then we said, no, that's too easy, that's an investor, it's cyan. It's really a poor choice of colors, but apart from that, yeah, I think you should be good. Okay, those were the two expedition cards. Again, we keep them both. They're usually hidden from the other players, but again, you usually know it's either red, purple, and or cyan, those investors. So really doesn't really matter too much, but at least gives some, I don't know, hidden information in respect to those victory points for the end of the game. Back to player one, and I believe she wants to trade cards actually. Yeah, I think let's get rid of those cards. They give you upgrades, which is cool, but there are cards that also allow you to upgrade redstones. And keep in mind, because of the university end of game scoring card, we want purple cubes. And again, these cards do not help you. Of course, you can now make basically reds out of your blues and blues out of your greens, but I think that doesn't really help us that much. And we had 2 of those cards, so I think there are definitely some better choices here. So we are drawing 2 more cards from this card here for replacement, and I think that's more like it for her. She really needs blue workers. At least one of those could be nice. I think that was already a win, I would say, for her. And then I think, let's also get rid of this one here. Of course, yeah, you are allowed to basically get rid of 2 cards, but again, you don't really know. And spending 6 of those combat tokens here, those exploration tokens, is really tough. She only has 1, so I think let's also get rid of this one. Maybe she's drawing something that fits her strategy a little bit better, and it actually could. Yeah, it's definitely expensive. We need coffee, we need champagne, and we need this gramophone, but yeah, let's see about that. I think the other 2 were okay, were good. This was okay, better than the other one. So I think overall she's not complaining. But again, that was her action. But again, this gives you then maybe some more ideas from what you should be doing next. Basically holding on to cards and simply just playing those for 3 points. Usually there are sometimes better things to do. Player 2 is already running out of building space, but I believe he still has a card on his hand which could really help him. That's an interesting one, and I believe he could do that actually. He could go for another of those, let's call those military ships. He doesn't have sails, but he can trade with other players, right? Yeah, I think player 1 has a cheap sail, so let's go for that. Yeah, let's totally go for that. So he has to sail, he needs wood. Problem is he needs to reactivate the wood. So let's spend 1 gold to do that and reactivate. So we have the wood. Then we need 2 more to trade with the cannons with player 3 actually. This requires us to spend 2 of those tokens. This gives a gold to player 3 and 1 gold. I nearly forgot to player 1 here, but this allowed us to build this another level 1 ship. Nicely done. And I think now he has 4 of those tokens, so he can do something pretty nice with that actually. Cool. Player 3 is running out again of those trade tokens, so I think he also wants to go for a level 1. Yeah, let's call it expedition warship here. So we need sail, we need wood, and we need a cannon, which he has. This allows us to build this one here, which is okay. I think he can go on to an expedition then, or basically go for another island. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see about that. So we are here, and this gives us this, and I think then we are moving back to player 1, and I believe this will then be our very last round here of this game. What are we going to do? In theory, we want also more of those engineers, right? Problem is we could upgrade, so I could show you the upgrade action because she has cheap steel, and she could trade with player 2 for a window. And then we could upgrade the red worker. Problem is she only has 2 of those right now. Is that correct? Does she only have? Yeah, I think that's a starting 2 things. So really trading or making an upgrade right now for her may not be the best thing to do. Actually, so maybe she really wants to go for one of those in order simply to start ramping up her stuff. So maybe she could now build those cards and then upgrading into red and then later on upgrading into purple. This could be a feasible plan. Therefore she might need soap. No one else has soap, but we have booze, right? We have booze and someone has beer. Player 3 has beer. Only player 3 actually. Does she need beer? She has some cards with beer, so for her it could also make sense building the beer first. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. We still have beer, which means we need some of those wheat or whatever it is. We need coal. She has the cheap coal, and this allows her to build the beer. And I think with that, she should then be able to go for this specialist here, giving her yet 2 more blue of those, 2 more blue tokens and or cards as well, which is I think pretty okay for her. Again, just to show you, I believe player 2 wants to use all of his military power now. That's 4 of those tokens to play out this card here. Seems to be kind of a pirate, but when you activate her, you get 4 trade tokens and 2 gold nuggets or gold bars. This is not really something which you have to weigh in. Really, those gold bars are great, but keep in mind, because of Madame Kahina here, you want to hold on to those trade tokens, and keep in mind the next time you're passing, whatever hasn't been spent from that card is gone. But on the other hand, you can also say, yeah, maybe I get those trade tokens later. I mean, he has a pretty strong trade fleet, for example. You don't have to rely on those cards. So in theory, whenever really you're in dire need of gold, you can consider exhausting this card anyway and say, let's go for it. Maybe it's still worth it. But overall, it's still worth 5 points for him. So he will definitely hold on to this card for now. Whatever he's doing, he's not losing those 5 points. And that was player 2. And I guess for player 2, it's now really, I think it's time to also upgrade his shipyard to level 2, I believe. Getting you more flexibility. I mean, those small ships are okay too, but at some point in time, it's, I think, also worth it to go for some better ships. Should we do that right away, or should we explore first? Because we are also running out of building spaces, actually, because we could gain something nice before we do that, because there are also tiles with have a shipyard on them. So I think, yeah, let's do that first. Keep in mind, the second of each of those costs you 2 of those, so he has to expand 2 of his tokens. He just got 1 extra because he built another military ship, which then ultimately allows him to go for another of those old world tiles. And this was actually a very, very nice draw. Wow. A military ship right off the bat for free. I think this is pretty cool for him. Yeah, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you really don't need this. So in this game, for example, having too much of those military forces doesn't really help you either. There are some of those end game scoring cards, which, for example, let me see that here, where you can, where is it? I think you get, come on. Where is it? There was a card which gives you basically, here, this one gives you 6 points for each of those New World cards. And then, of course, you have to go for those things like crazy because you want to speed things to have 4 of those as soon as possible, because those are really limited. So they can give you really easy points. And she's also a character from the computer game. Yeah, as far as I remember. So really a lot of, let's say, differences in respect to your tactical or strategic choices depending on all of those endgame scoring cards out there. But still, it does help. So the next time he's moving out, he has to go for 3 of those tokens. Now he has 3 of those, so he can do the same thing right off the bat again when once he has passed, for example. So overall, that worked out pretty okay for him too. And I guess with that being said, I believe I will call it a walkthrough here and today. Again, they have all still a hell of a lot of these cards. I mean, that's player 2. Player 1, I think, also has still, I don't know, 10, 11 cards. Player 3, on the other hand, I think he didn't really get a lot of extra cubes. So I think he's down to now only 9 cards. So here it's relatively likely that he might be able to end the game. And he also has some of those. So if he really plays his card well, he could really say, okay, let's go for some easy points and try to end the game early before all the other players are doing something. But then again, there are those end game scoring cards, where he didn't really do that well, actually. So again, a lot of decisions if you really want to end the game early or not. But again, I really do hope you enjoyed my second episode of Anno 1800. I believe I will march on to something else. My patrons have voted to have me do a solo playthrough of Bonfire. It was very actual fun little exercise because it was kind of a tie in respect to the votes between Bonfire and Paleo. And in the end, I recorded a small patron exclusive video where I simply rolled a die, which then showed that, basically Bonfire made it to my next playthrough. I will definitely also do Paleo at some point in time, but again, next up will most likely be Bonfire. Again, a huge shout out to all of my patrons. Thanks so much for all your comments, your support, your likes, your subscribes. Really helps a lot. If you want to support the channel, you will find a link to Patreon, and you will definitely can support me here on YouTube directly by joining my community. And I hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And until then, bye bye.